Well, good evening, everybody. I hope you guys have had a beautiful Thursday and that your day was productive and everything that you plan to do has been fruitful today. I wanted to thank you guys for coming in. Hey, Dennis. Hey, Katora. Hey, Mr. Cox. How are you tonight? Thank y'all for coming in. Listen, if you can, I just wanted to share with you on tonight a few things that with you before I'm going to try to get out this evening and go for a walk on this evening before it gets too dark. And let me rephrase that. I am going to go for a walk this evening after I finish this, and so I wanted to come on real quick before it got too late in the evening. So if you guys can, for me, when you guys come on, if you would share this video with your friends. Hey, Beverly, thank you guys for coming on. Again, I won't be long. I just wanted to kind of come on tonight and share three things that that we should not be saying, three things that we should never say, that I wanted to come on tonight to discuss. And so again, when you guys come on, if you would share this video, I would appreciate that. If you would do that for me, that would be great. Thank you guys again for coming on. I'm Desiree Newell Atkins of DNA Ministries, your purpose coach and the administrator of the Women's Ministers Mastermind Facebook group. And I wanted to thank you guys again for coming in on tonight. Ask you guys to share the video as you come in. So I mentioned that we're going to talk about three things that we should never say, right? Three things that really kind of sabotage us and causes us to stall and not propel forward toward our goals. Thank you, Katora, for sharing the video on tonight. And those three things I really want to talk about. But if you know me, anytime that you hear me minister or teach, or if we're having even a one-on-one about anything, any challenge that's going on, anything that you want to have, or anything that you want to be, in the discussion that I would have in my part, I am always going to go with what we're thinking, right? What are you thinking about that situation? What's going on in your mind? And what are you allowing to come out of your mouth, right? And the action steps that we're taking to reach that manifested goal. So it's our mind, our mouth, and what we manifest. That I am deliberately redundant in that, in everything, in every situation that we do. I really believe that it starts, anything that we want to accomplish, be, and have starts with our mind and the things that we allow to stay out of our mouth. And then we can walk out our manifestation if we take the action steps that align with what's coming out of our mind and our mouth, right? And so I'm always going back to that, no matter what the conversation is, every time. And that being said, over the years, anything that comes up, I'm believing that so much that I've gotten to the place of believing in this concept that become somewhat of a student of lexicon, right? And so I'm breaking down words and phrases that we're saying and finding out what the meaning of it is, and not just our regular words, the dictionary words, but the word of God, and how to apply this word to our everyday life, right? And so in doing that, hey, Katina, how are you tonight? And doing that, it causes me to have an increase in vocabulary, right? But not for the sake of just adding value or adding vocabulary, but the words that I am saying, are they adding life, or are they adding value, or are they adding death to my life, right? So we want to make sure that the things that I'm saying is adding value and adding life to us, right? So if life and death lies in our tongue, and it is, and it does, everything that we say leaves our mouth. Listen, it leaves our mouth, and life has, our words have life, right? And once it leaves our lips, once it leaves our mouth, it goes out to perform or to create the very thing that we're saying, whether it's negative or whether it's positive. It's going to create it, and then it's going to bring it toward us. And so we'll live out that manifestation. So it is very important. It's very important. I'm always correcting myself. I'm always correcting my family and the things that we're saying. And so to use better words, or to phrase that a little better so that it sounds like the life that I want to have, so that the words can go and create that life, right? Life and death does in fact lie in our tongue. So I want to make sure that we're speaking life, that you and I are speaking life into every situation that we encounter, that you and I are speaking the things that affirm everything that we're wanting to be, have, and do, right? So, but we tend to too often that we should say things that are not beneficial to us, that are actually detrimental to us, right? We tend to say things that stall us from moving toward and into our purpose, that thing that God has for us. We tend to do that on a regular basis. So this is how God tends to deal with me. Whenever it's something that is for me to apply or for me to pay attention to, he'll bring it to me in phases, and it'll be one after another, one after another. And I had this conversation with my husband earlier this week, and then on today, I had a conversation with a friend that was going through a situation, and she called me up, and we talked about it, right? And after she got through explaining everything that's going wrong and everything that he did, right? And we had this very conversation that we're having now. And so she's aware that I'm going to speak on this tonight. But after having all of that conversation, and after us speaking life-affirming words into the situation, and after us praying that thing into God, the very next words that came out of her mouth was something that brought her right back to the same place from zero, right? Took her right back there. It was in direct contradiction to what we had just spoken, right? And so I had to flat out tell her to shut up, right? Flat out, just be quiet. The words that you're saying aren't lining up with what's in our mind concerning what you're wanting, right? After going through all the things that's going on and everything that's happening, I asked, this is what is. Now, what do you want to happen? And we started to speak that. But the very next thing that came out of her mouth was not that, right? And so we sabotage ourselves often. And sometimes we do it unaware, right? And so I just want to bring some light and some attention to the things that we're saying. Proverbs 6:2 says that you are ensnared by the words that come from your lips, right? You are ensnared by the words that come from your lip, and you're caught by the words that come out of your mouth, which means, right, that you are trapped. You trap yourself with the words that you say, unaware, sometimes out of ignorance, but the words that we say have life, and so we trap ourselves with it. It's like we're captured and we're caught in a net. You know, and we can come out of the things that we say, but if you've ever been caught in a net or seen anything that's caught in a net, it's gonna struggle to get out of it, right? You're gonna wrestle and fight against the air to get out of it. And so I want to make sure that I bring some light to what we're saying, and a couple of things that we should never ever say. Hey, Miss Shalonda Mechanico, how are you doing on tonight? Hey, Yolanda, thank you guys for joining in. We're going to talk about tonight those 3 things that we should never say. I'm going to ask you guys to share the video if you would on tonight. And I want to thank everybody that's on Periscope. Thank you guys for following in on tonight. Be sure to share this video with your followers. I would greatly appreciate it. Again, we're going to talk about the things that we should never say that come out of our mouth. And so, having said all of that, the first thing that we should never say is this, that you're trying. Trying. That you're trying. I'm trying to do this, or I'm trying to do that. You know, we should never say that I'm trying. Now, and here's the thing: when you say that you're trying, it can be that you have well intentions on what you're trying to do, right? When you say that you're trying to do something, you mean well by what you're saying. But the connotation that comes with that word trying. So if you said things like, I'm trying to get my life together. Yeah. Anybody ever said that? I'm trying to get my life together right now. Right. Or I heard this before I left coming home from work. I asked somebody what they were doing when they got home this evening. What you doing this evening? And the response I got is, well, I'm going to try to go to the gym. Now, going to the gym is a good thing, right? Going to the gym to take care of yourself is a good thing, good intentions, right? But that word trying indicates that you have doubt on whether or not you're going to go. I may go and I may not go, right? And it gives you an out if you don't go. If you don't go to the gym, it gives you an out because, in fact, you said, I'm trying. You know, it leaves us with a sense of doubt and uncertainty. So, in fact, if you're wanting to go to the gym, we should be saying, I am going to the gym. Or if I am getting my life together, I am getting my life together. Or if you're saying that instead of saying I'm trying, you know, I'm going to try to get a house next year, or I'm going to try to buy a car next year. You need to make the decision on whether or not you're going to do it or not, and not try. Just do it, right? When we say we're going to try, we give ourselves the out in maybe I can do it and maybe I can't. You know, our words are saying I want to do it, or this thing is a good thing to do. But what we're saying to our mind is that, well, I don't know if I can or not, right? And so that's what's going to happen. And then if it doesn't happen, we let ourselves off and it's okay, rather than saying I am going to do it, right? But if we say I am, then that leaves a level of accountability to what we're saying we're going to do. Right? And so if you want to do it, then do it. If you don't want to do it, it's okay. It's okay if that's not what you're wanting to do. But if you are wanting to do it, take the word trying out of it and just do it. Okay? So we're not going to say trying. And here's the thing. I know people say, well, that's just something. And back to that conversation that I had with the person that I was talking to today. And I'm saying, be quiet. Your words are contradicting what we just spoke about. And she said, well, I'm just saying. And a lot of times we say, well, I'm just saying, you know, that's the phrases they're saying, or that's what we say today, right? But it, in fact, halts us. It hinders us from going forward in what God has for us. So we're going to take trying out of our vocabulary, right? The next thing that we want to take out of our vocabulary is I have to. I have to. I have to do this, or I have to do that, right? We say it often, you know, what are you doing this weekend? Or do you want to do this? And we'll say in response, no, I can't because I have to do whatever it is, right? And so what it leaves is like a sense of an obligation or a requirement that we really don't want to do, right? And sometimes we want to do it. It's just out of habit. We say, I have to. And when we say, I have to, it leaves us to feel like it's dreadful. I really don't want to do this, right? And then our actions reflect that. So if you say things like, I heard today I have to go and pick up the kids, right? I have to do that. I have to drive 45 minutes to an hour. That's a conversation that I've had. I've had to drive 45 minutes or an hour to go to work every day. Yep. That's a reality. I have to. But rather than saying I have to, try saying I get to, right? I get to keep the kids. I get to drive 45 minutes to an hour a day to go to work. And so what that does is just a simple mindset change to tell yourself, it puts you in a place of gratitude. I get to means I'm grateful that I get to do this, right? And instead of I have to, where I'm begrudging doing the act that I have to do. And then we miss the blessing that God has in the act of us doing it. You know, everything that we do is not something against us, right? But if we're trying to do it, right? If we go back to trying, if we're trying to do it, if you think about the word trying, if somebody came and said, I'm having a trying day, which means they had a hard day. There was obstacles in their day and they didn't know if they were going to make it throughout the day. And so when you say I'm trying to do something, you're telling yourself that you're going to have obstacles in it and you don't know if you're going to get it done, right? And in the case of I have to versus I get to, just put you in a place of gratitude and thanking the Father for what he allows you to do, right? I get to keep the kids. I get to keep the grandkids today, right? And there may be times when you really don't want to, right? And even in the things that you get to do, you may not enjoy it all the way through, and every time won't be blissful, but it is a blessing in it. And I want to make sure that we're aligned with it to understand and to recognize God's hand of grace and blessing that's in it. Okay. All right. So the last thing that I want to talk about tonight that we should never say is that I'm broke, right? We've all said it. We've all said something to the fact that I'm broke or I don't have any money, right? I think all of us have said that at one point or another. I'm broke or I don't have any money. Now, it really doesn't matter. This you should never say. This you should never say. And it doesn't matter if you don't have any funds in the bank, and it doesn't matter if you don't have anything in your pocket. This you should never say. I'm broke or I don't have any money. I'm broke or I don't have any money. We should never say it. Never say it. Even if it is absolutely true right now, you do not say it, because we're speaking a thing that we want to happen and not what is. We don't have to speak what's obvious. Obviously, you don't have the money, right? It's obvious to you, but I don't have to speak that thing, because it keeps me in a state of always being broke and always not having money, right? So we're going to take that I'm broke or I don't have any money. We're going to take that out of our vocabulary. See, here's what saying I'm broke does. I can't do that because I'm broke. It legitimizes the fact that we can't have, we can't do, we can't be. And it says to yourself that you're less than, that there's lack in your life, right? And there's not enough of you, or you're not enough. We feed into that. And as we think, so are we. So we're not going to say I'm broke. Rather, and here's the thing, it keeps us from, whenever we say we're broke, and a whole bunch of things go on in our mind. And then what we begin to think is, I can't have, right? Here's something I can't have because I don't have the money. Here's something that I can't have because I don't have the funds. And it keeps us in a state of recognizing what we don't have, rather than realizing and keeping on our mind what we do have, right? So we want to make sure that we keep the words in front of us, phrase the words that is not detrimental to the life that we want to create, right? So we want to rephrase it. And you may hear yourself saying different things, but you want to make sure that you rephrase it. Here's another thing that happens with the broke piece. A lot of times people will say, and you may have heard, or you may have said, somebody say, oh, you got all the money, right? I see how you living. You got all the money. And then we, out of this sense of false modesty, right? We say, oh, girl, I ain't got no money. Not me, right? Never do that. Never, ever, ever, ever do that, right? You give God glory because he has blessed you. You know what? Yep, I'm really enjoying this. I am really enjoying this. I had a conversation with somebody. They have a beautiful car, right? I said, oh, I like the body on that. That is beautiful. And it looks good on you. And the response came back, and she said it, not thinking anything and thinking that, well, I'm gonna downplay it. It's no big deal. We don't have to make a big deal about it or anything like that. But what she says, it ain't. It's okay. It's okay. And the upkeep on it is this. And she just went into a whole bunch of things to downplay this blessing that God has given you. Look, God blesses you. Somebody recognizes the blessing that he has blessed you with, right? Don't ever downplay it, right? You prayed for that. And then he turned around and blessed you with it. Yep, I'm enjoying this. God has really blessed me with this, and I am really enjoying it. Point blank and period. That sense of false modesty takes you out of the receiving mode that God has for you, right? So I'm telling you, look, you have to be very careful of the words that you say, because it creates the life that you have, and it creates the life that you want or don't want based off of what you're saying. So it's always your mind, your mouth, and you'll manifest that thing that you're having, right? So we're going to take these words out, and these are not the only thing that we say that sabotages our lives, right? There's plenty of more, but I just wanted to come on tonight and discuss these three right here that we're trying. We're going to take that out. We're going to find words that better suit the situation, right? That I have to, and that I'm broke. We're not going to say those things, right? So I hope that this has blessed you. I hope that you're able to take this and be mindful of the words that we're saying. Again, I told you that I am on purposely redundant concerning the way that we think and the words that come out of our mouths. That's the message every time. That's the message that I give every time, that what we think is what we have, what we say is what we have, and the action steps that we take manifest what we're thinking and what we're saying, right? Your mind, mouth, and what we manifest. So take out of your vocabulary that you're trying, take out of your vocabulary that you have to, and take out of your vocabulary that you're broke, right? And you use the words that fit your situation that you want to happen. Yeah, we're going to do that. And every time that you say the things that's not conducive to what you're wanting, just change the words. Change what you're saying. Change your vocabulary. Change your language, right? Again, I am always correcting myself and correcting my family to choose better words to suit what we're trying to say. That's all. That's all that I have on tonight. You'll see that things begin to change, and it may sound like a lot of effort to do it, but it's worth it, right? So people may say, well, who really does that, right? You should. You should. If you're wanting things to change, then you have to change the way you speak. If you're wanting things to change, then you can't say the things that you've been saying and getting the results that you've been getting, but wanting different results, right? You have to change what you're saying, okay? That's all I have on tonight, you guys. I thank y'all for coming in. I will see you guys on tomorrow for today's confession. I pray again that you've had a great day today with all the things that you've had to do throughout the day, and that you have a great Thursday evening. Y'all be blessed. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.